reality is, the more risk you take, the luckier you get. So people need to learn to take one big risk a day. Every day take a risk and build up that risk muscle, because risk is where success comes.
Risk must be taken for the greatest. Hazard in life is to risk nothing.
Take the biggest fucking risks of your entire life right now. Remember, you have time.
I think that most people, the reason that they lack success in their life is that they lack the courage to make the decisions that need to be made to put them in the position that they want to be in.
You can get so scared, and you can be so easily lulled into the idea that good is good enough, that feeling safe and comfortable is what you should always be looking for. That way of thinking, in your 20s in particular, dead fucking wrong. I want you to start to create this mindset of taking risks and going big.
All right. Welcome everybody to, it is R2R live stream number 150. Live stream 150. Welcome to the channel. Happy Thirsty Thursday to everybody out there in the crypto space. Always remember, if you're on YouTube, post notifications, subscribe, drop a comment, get the YouTube algorithm going. All right. Don't forget to subscribe, pound the like button, show your support. Let's get the live stream out there. Show your support. You know you want to do it. All right. Also, if you're on X, aka Twitter, the freedom of speech platform, shout out to Elon Musk. You absolutely must retweet this once it posts and get all your hashtags out there. We're going to talk about the Ethereum Pectra upgrade. Was it a massive success? Was it? And don't forget, guys, check out the link in the description if you're interested in the R2R VIP group for any reason, shape, or form. It's my private channel over on Telegram. We will be shutting its doors permanently. I'm giving it till May 15th. No new members after that. We are going to be going into whatever cycle this is. It could be a bull, it could be a bear, it could be a super cycle, it could be a super bear cycle, it could be going sideways. I don't know, but it's definitely time to lock in. A lot of things are happening, and the squad is solid, and we're going to make solid moves together, and onward and outward. Well, upward and onward, right? Let's take a look at who's in the chat. Yetta, what's up, Moonmutt? What's up, Van? Yo. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for the support. So just taking a look. Look at Ethereum, $2,055. Hey, I mean, listen. We all know when we have a good old day of green and there's greenery in the scenery, especially when it's Ethereum, because Ethereum has just not performed where we thought it would be by now, especially when Bitcoin hit $109,000. It's interesting because Ethereum was much higher when Bitcoin hit $109,000. Now Bitcoin is at 100 grand and it's at 2,000. So I don't know if that's even more of a poor performance in comparison to where we were, a couple months back. So it's interesting to see. It's an interesting feeling. But when there's greenery in the scenery, we know Jerome's in the house. Let's get it.
Jerome's in the house. I think Jerome's in the house. Watch your mouth. Without a doubt. Jumping on the top.
So anyways, yeah, I mean, a beautiful day in the market. Obviously, everything is tied in. That's what we always cover, every day, the prices across the board, right? So when I see Bitcoin, let's come over here for a second, at $100,000, over almost $101,000 Bitcoin, right? Going on a run. Now we need to hit past 109,000. We need to go to 110,000 for me to get like ultra bullish, right? For me to be convinced that this isn't a bull trap. I'm like, don't bull trap me. Don't BS me, market. Don't BS me. Because I do understand at this point, there's a lot of longs being put right now. A lot. And the funky thing about all those positions that are being put out there right now, it's by the hundreds and millions of dollars, even billions of dollars are going long, right? On the centralized exchanges where the casino really exists. And, you know, when it's bearish, you put your short. When it's bullish, you put your longs. So I just hate the fact that we got all this money on those centralized exchanges, because at any moment, market makers and the manipulators and just the people that pull the trigger on pump and dumping the market as a whole, and I can say, hey, let's liquidate these guys. And it's annoying. It's an annoying process, but it's part of the process when you go up and you go down. It just is what it is, man. You can never get away from it, right? So Bitcoin, $101,000 Bitcoin about to break right now, just did $101,000. Beautiful thing. Well, if you're gonna acknowledge the fact that Bitcoin is up, look, stock market all-time highs, $5,711 or 5,700 plus point S&P 500, Dow 30, 41,702, the Nasdaq 18,000 points from Russell to the Russell 2000 plus, gold 3,300. Gold, oh my gosh, it's like gold is keeping up. It's going up with the market. Isn't that weird? Like, you get the volatility in Bitcoin or in the overall markets, and you know, one goes up, one goes down. Usually, if people aren't confident in the markets, they hedge their bets in gold and commodities. But everything's like, I'm gonna go up, right? I'm gonna go up, and that's what happened. What's up, Jerry 14? Those weekend fights are trash. Yeah, and Bo Nickel. Jeez. A knee to the chest knockout or to the midsection. I think it might have hit him on the liver. Not 100% sure. But yeah, the fights were hella bad. From boxing to UFC, it was crazy. It was crazy. Let's go take a look at liquidations, because I would imagine a lot of shorts are getting wrecked right now, right? And that's the people that are like, hey, Bitcoin's peaking. Let's put it in a short, right? And I'm even thinking like, hey, it might be time to put it in a short, right? So let's look at the majority of what got liquidated across the board. Always important to take a look at, understand your markets, understand what money's being extracted. And right now it's the short positions. By far lopsided short positions are getting shorted in a 24-hour period, $492.79 million. All right. Short liquidations. Crazy. Isn't it crazy? That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money that's gambling. Okay. The one thing when we look at too, when I look at Ethereum, right, and I go, okay, Bitcoin's 100. Like, let's take a look at something before we get into the Pectra upgrade. Because obviously, hey, before we get into the upgrades and what it's doing, it's helping the price of Ethereum, or the markets overall are going up. Like, the Pectra upgrade came at the precise perfect time with bullishness from tariffs, stock market going up, right? It's interesting, but let's go look at when Bitcoin, and we'll just do it on CoinMarketCap here, hit the previous all-time high of $109,000, right? Was it a month ago? No, I think it was further out, actually. We're going to have to hit the 1 year so we can match this number of where it peaked out right here. And CoinMarketCap never has, like, the actual tops. If they want to call it, you know, here 106, whatever, right? We know that things went up again. We have these market conditions right about here. February, January, 9 off of February, right? So that was the last, we'll call it January the 20th, right? What was the price of ETH around January the 21st? I'm just curious. I want to pick that up really quick and take a look here. Where was ETH at back in good old January of the 21st? $3,389. So Bitcoin goes to 109 again. That means we got a Kickstarter next year, $1,300 over the top of the price of ETH. That's a lot of money that's going to go in the overall market cap, bring that price up. And the Pectra upgrade happened, so that's interesting. But it does have a lot of competition as far as like market share, right? XRP, BNB, Solana. Why don't I take a look at Solana too? Because this is supposed to make Ethereum pretty competitive now in what we have been seeing in real time, and that's Solana onboard more users and have much more volume on the daily. Okay, so 24-hour fees, Ethereum compared to Solana, Ethereum's brought in a whopping $858,843 past 24 hours. Solana, $1.65 million in fees in 24 hours. So double the fees it's generating as a blockchain. All right. That's crazy because ETH is still dominating on total TVL on the chain. But like the usage and what's going on, like TVL's, staked, stable coins and all that. That's interesting. Look at total lock value, 8.1 million versus 8.1 billion versus 54 billion. 24-hour fees are double. So that means a lot more transactions are happening. Okay. App revenue, 1.1 million for ETH versus the app revenue right here of 7.9 million. The 7x higher number for people that are using dApps. All right. 24-hour volume, 1.73 billion versus 24-hour volume of 2.8 billion. And the perp volume, 604 million for Solana, 877.91 million for ETH. And that's just where ETH is beating them as far as perps volume and total TVL. But, ETH's been here longer. Stable coins, that's like the home of the stable coins, right? Tron's competing up there on a large scale as well. Those are all interesting numbers because those numbers we want to see start to flip-flop, right? We want to see fees grow here and match Solana. We want to see revenue. We want to see volume match Solana and increase because that is what is absorbing market share overall. And that's where if we share enough market share with Ethereum and Solana, and institutional money looks at the opportunity because they're buying right now to get Solana at the same time as ETH. And I reflect at the price of what ETH was at the $3,300 when, let's say, Bitcoin was $106,000 to $109,000. There's a $1,300 difference at the current price of $1,000 and ETH at $2,000. The numbers are a little like, okay, is ETH going to struggle? ETH's having a good day, but is it going to pull it off, right? Is it going to 2-3x like a lot of people are saying, sharing all of the stats that we're looking at here where they're being defeated by Solana? And in a bull market, my money, if you had $100,000, the $100,000, I feel like because of the lower market cap in Solana, and as much as the volume that's there, that's showing with the fees generated, the transactions, the dApp revenue, all of these factors other than TVL, that shows me like 3-5x potential versus a 2 to 3x. So where would you want to put your money at with $100,000? You'd want to go with where the most opportunity is. And I think it's kind of point blank, what is outperforming the other. But this is where the Pectra upgrade comes in, guys. Like it's helping ETH on a lot of different fronts. All right. There's no doubt about that. And it's going to be interesting because it just happened yesterday. So it's not like one of those things where we have just enough data to like say indefinitely like, hey, this is going to be like the biggest thing since sliced bread. We're going up and up and that's it. I'm questioning like what in the hell is going to happen. All right. So the upgrade went live, right? It went live on the 7th, which is yesterday. Pectra combines 2 coordinated updates, right? I don't want to make this like too technical, but it is technical. I think people just want to know, is it going to make me money? Is it going to make things faster? All right. So the Prague execution layer hard fork and Electra consensus layer upgrade, right? Those are the 2 upgrades. How else do you want to phrase that without being too technical? I mean, you can read all about it. You can understand that. I think the most important things here are that it's introducing some new technology, right? Where when it comes to the gas fees, right, and these smart contracts, you're going to be able to utilize a gas fee, let's say, in the form of a different cryptocurrency. Okay, whether that's like a layer 2, whatever that may be, cover the gas cost with different cryptocurrencies. That was one that I thought was like pretty interesting. I don't think that one has hit the market yet as far as like people being excited, right? I don't think people are like, oh yeah, that's super bullish. Like maybe they know about it, maybe they don't. All right. That is one thing that they're talking about outside of the things I've been mentioning already, right? Is that when it comes to the validators, right? It went from 32 Ethereum could be staked to 2048 can be staked with these validators, right? And I'm like, cool. That's like a big jump for your proof of stake, capabilities when it comes to validators. Okay. And the fact that it does help layer 2s, my understanding was it helps layer 2s like significantly, like pretty early on. And then I've been seeing a lot about the deflationary aspect of ETH. And people were showing charts like, hey, it's deflationary. And, look what's happening. So I started looking at those numbers. And, ETH right now at this point, I saw these charts. I was like, all right, yeah, it's burning Ethereum. Like, let me take a look at the numbers. Because a lot of people, like, now you're going to start hearing the term blob gas, like, way more often and talking about the blob gas. So, like, what's an Ethereum blob fee, right? It has to do with pretty much the data stored. It's stored in what they call blobs. And that data storage was introduced in what they call EIP 4844, right? And these are fees that are paid like in on top or like in addition to a transaction fee. And the reason behind them is it's supposed to make it like incentivized for the efficient use of the blob space when it comes to that storage. So that there's not a lot of like individuals that I've watched personally talk about the technical aspects of the blobs, but like this is something where I mentioned it's like a developer's wet dream. Okay. All the things that they look at on the back end, up front. We see if like we want to see in crypto a finished product that we can use. It's cheap and affordable. All right. And the data storage has a lot to do with what we see as far as the prices and the additional fees on top of our transactions. And when that gets improved, we're going to experience that during transactions. And this type of data typically is used by layer 2s, the L2s, which are scaling solutions for, Ethereum. And they had like such a huge use case because when Ethereum gas fees gone up, we're like, we love DeFi, but we want to be in an environment where it's like cheap and affordable. Okay. So let's take a look. Talk more about blob fees is what I'm going to talk more about. And without like giving people a headache, right? We'll just look at the visuals on ultrasound.money. shows you blob fees. It shows you actually the blob fee burn too in a 7-day time frame. So in a 30-day time frame, you can like click here, you can see. You get the 3-year, go back to the 5-minute, 1 hour, 1 day. Let's keep it at 7 days. So 54.49 ETH blob fee burn. It's like almost $100,000, $99,963. And then they have projections. I love this website, by the way, on what's to come in decades to come, like far out into the future. I think institutions like would love a site like this, and I'm sure they look at this stuff because over time, you see the benefits of what Ethereum upgrades actually do. And in the long term, if you're someone buying it at $2,000, $1,800, even $3,000, and you think that ETH is revolving technology that's going to have upgrades like this, it's going to make it beneficial, then you're like, okay, as an institution, like we're going to go $1 billion, 100 million, whatever. To me, it's like, okay, they're adding all this. It's super bullish right now, especially the day after. But in my honest opinion, it's doing a lot of things that are just helping it be competitive versus like Solana. And it's a lot of like long-term projected, I guess you could say features that it get enhanced to become better, like the deflationary aspect of things. The gas fees, like these things happen from even back when the Duncan upgrade happened, right? Or Dakin, or however you say it. I forget the terms, man. Getting old. Like they have these long periods of time where you can chart it. Like this is where the upgrade happened, and 1 year later, you know, this evolved into this, where things are being upgraded and users are being onboarded now quicker than ever on Solana versus ETH. So at least it's keeping up to speed somewhat, but it's like a long process. All right. Let's see. I want to take a look at like the most important part here, like the burn, right? It's getting hot in here. 7-day burn for Ethereum. Every 5 minutes, 0.71 ETH is being burned right now. That's a pretty big burn rate, right? That's every 5 minutes. Does it change on the 1 hour? Doesn't look like it changed a lot. So on the 1 hour, it's about the same. 1 day, every 1 day, 7.72 ETH is burned. That's a 1 day time frame. They got the leaderboards here on what's actually triggering these burns. And it's interesting. Tether's at the very top, 3 ETH per day. ETH transfers, 0.92. So nothing really comes close to the USDT stable token. It's 3x higher than everything to the second best thing, which is ETH transfers. All right. The 7-day, 505.33 ETH. So there's some definitely some deflationary aspects happening here. And look at Zen, 23.73 ETH. Isn't that crazy? They listed it as a meme token too. That's so interesting. Wow. And you see all these other MEV bots, everything. They even include MEV bots in this. Look at this. All these are included. Wow. I wonder why. They I guess they look. MEV bots are just part of the numbers, right? I thought you said we entered a bear market. Well, there is bull traps, and it's interesting because if Ethereum has one good day or Bitcoin has one good day, everyone comes out, oh, you said we're going to the bear market. Relax, bro. When ETH is at new all-time high, come with it. That's great. And if it does, great. It helps my bags. I'm still bearish. That's just me. Days like this don't phase me where I get excited and I start to unload because I'm on leverages of ETH. So do I need to even buy ETH? The answer is no. Do I rely on ETH in certain investments? Yeah. Right? But I don't get like I don't know. X gets like super horny excited for one green candle, right? And we've seen that happen in bull traps. We've seen that happen in bear traps, right? So there's a lot at stake here. There's a lot reliant on stock market moves. Like the stock market is up today. That means Bitcoin's up. Stock market crashes. What happens to Bitcoin, right? I just think people are funny when they say that. Like, oh, I think, and remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I always tell you, do your own research. Don't ever allow an influencer to influence you. So, Aquian 10, if you think otherwise, good for you, brother. Good for you. However, right, as we speak about these issues, and we go and take a look, right? This is the funny part. There's a lot of actually good data here, right? ETH gas fees are skyrocketing right now. So we're burning, okay? There is deflationary aspects you can take a look at. And you can even like project here from like, let's say May into like 2026. So there's not going to be a lot of inflation added on top of here. It actually goes down over the next couple of years, right? What's projected, right? But ETH gas fees, as we speak right now, are on the rise. And a lot of people are like, I thought it was going to bring the fees down. For the layer twos, yes, it will have an immediate, like, I want to say consequence, but a chain reaction of cheap gas fees. The reason why you're not seeing cheap gas fees today, which I think is what gives Solana the most competitive edge, right, is cheap gas fees. So that holds you back. So we go into a bull market, right? Let's say we do, which is great. We're still like, how is ETH going to perform when Bitcoin hits, let's say Bitcoin hits $120,000. Let's say it hits 150. During that price, going up, based off it heavily being bonded to Bitcoin, ETH should rise too, right? So they say. However, how well will it perform sharing market share with technology that still continues to outperform it in the current moment when it comes to the stats that we looked at earlier and having cheaper gas fees? So that's the thing that we're going to be like, the carrot that's dangling in front of us is like, what could happen, right? The reason why these numbers are lopsided is because it's cheaper to transact on Solana, and that's where the new onboards are going. They don't want to pay these high gas fees. If Solana goes to $200 right now, the gas fees are super cheap. If Ethereum goes to $4,000 right now, you're going to pay fat gas fees. And that is not what we look for in technology. So the gas fee issue is surfacing in this very moment in real time. So everyone is aware of the Pectra upgrade, the benefits, and what it's done at this given moment. And we're just going to continue to look at charts with the Ethereum supply, 120.73 million, right? But the user experience and what people are wanting for the people that are actually use DeFi are cheaper gas fees, right? So in an institutional investor, an institution that invests in Ethereum, they buy Ethereum and they're not actively using it like the users. So there's a lot of volume that can come from them buying, but what makes Ethereum become deflationary and burn the actual tokens and makes the people that are running validators, proof of stake, no longer proof of work, money and the place to be is users, right? Is the users are the ones generating these fees. And right now it's being outpaced by Solana. So in the world where we go on a bull market, how well can ETH do when it's being outpaced on so many different categories by its number one competitor? And that's what we're going to find out if we are in fact going into a bull market, which I am like, hey, if it's here, it's here. If not, it's not, right? And I've said, no, I think we're in a bear. We will be in a bull market indefinitely once Bitcoin's above 109,000. You know, we'll be like on our way to the next leg up. But we have different levels, right, where we can get rejected, where they call resistance. So I'm just not that guy that gets my panty all caught up, right? My panties caught up in a knot, right? I thought you said we're entering a bear market. Do you see how people think at $101,000 Bitcoin? They forget just yesterday Bitcoin was 78,000 after it hit 109,000. So the hopium, the belief system, whatever you want to call it, becomes very strong at this point. And that right there could be a solid bear trap. I hope not. I need the markets to go up. I think a lot of you do as well. So it's exciting times to observe and see. I think since we are heavily tied into the stock market at this point, right, guys? I want more than anything for the stock market to continue to go up. But I don't find that like sustainable. And it doesn't seem like the Feds are on the same page with the current president of the United States, who's like demanding a rate cut. And they're just like, nah. Right? There's like some heat going on. Ethereum price news. Can ETH hit $3,000 after the Pectra upgrade? This bullish sign says yes. So let's look at the bullish scenario. We've been talking about this week about the Bollinger Band, right? It's called a Bollinger Band squeeze. And then what can happen is a slingshot north or south. We haven't got the slingshot yet, but it could trade sideways before it really just expands and blows up to the up and up or to the down and down. And we're experiencing that right now in real time, right? The band is about to like it one way or the other in whatever direction it may be. And I don't know if people are going to take today's example of gas fees being up still and call it a failure, right? And this is why I showed you talk just really briefly about blob fees, because as a developer, you're like, this is freaking awesome. This is great. It is awesome. As a user, the majority of users, I guarantee you, expectations are like low gas fees. I thought there was a new upgrade. And then when they realized like the slow transition from the reality of what they thought was going to happen to what happens when ETH starts to go up with the gas fee, gets intertwined and tangled up in confusion where they're like, okay, so it's not cheap. And then it's like, okay, now we see the user market reaction. And the user market reaction, all it doesn't mean that the market dumps. The users just shift to where DeFi makes more sense and it's less. So even if we go in a bull market, Bitcoin all-time high, Solana all-time highs, Ethereum, maybe, because it's all tech-based. So, I think anytime we have like a correction in these markets, right, we can go bearish. Anytime we go up and we can go next leg up, we become bullish. But I'm seeing right now, and maybe you don't see it, I'm seeing Ethereum price right now, guys, after a big upgrade, only $2,000, and Bitcoin's going up to 101,000. Okay, where ETH was at the 3,300 when Bitcoin was 109. Listen, man, go to DeFi Llama. Look at the numbers we were looking at earlier. The competition is fierce, okay? And when Bitcoin drives up, it drives the gas fees up here, and the gas fees stay pretty here. And it's a lower market cap with more opportunity. So a lot of people are going to be really disappointed if Bitcoin hit 200,000 and 2x'd, and Ethereum only went to 4,000. It could happen. I'd be happy at $4,000, right? But that's not guaranteed. People think that it's going to, like slingshot, institutional money is going to come in. And institutional money will come in. It will buy ETH. But it also will see a big opportunity to buy in Solana, which slingshots the price many X's. But the users are using it. It's what makes it great, is the users are using it. And you can see the data in the amount of money that's being made versus Ethereum right now with the transactions and where DeFi is popping. This is a very interesting scenario to be in. We're witnessing in real time in a tech-driven industry when it comes to smart contracts, right? Bitcoin has like no competition. Bitcoin's Bitcoin. It's like the first of its kind. So I don't know in what world where competition doesn't just bring the best out of you. We're at least seeing these upgrades happen, and Vitalik is not going down without a fight. He's swinging, but the amount of time it took from the previous upgrade, right? If we take a look at the previous upgrade with Ethereum, that actually, and they call it the Dakin upgrade. It's spelled D-E-N-C-U-N, like Dakin, not like Duncan. I might have pronounced it Duncan. But that happened, many moons ago. It was a bullish moment, if you guys remember when it happened. In like a 24-hour period, the price was like, I think the price rallied roughly like, I think it was like 49%, 50% at the time. Ethereum was like $3,968 or something, I believe. I looked at that earlier. Let me look at the launch date for that. All right, the Dakin upgrade launched March 13th, 2024. So that's 1 year and 2 months ago. All right. So let's look at the price of Ethereum on March 13th, 2024. I'm going to Google it right now. And I'm going to type in ETH price. So on March 13th, 2024, when that upgrade went live, guys, Ethereum hit $4,006. That was its top for 2024, right? About 4,092-ish by like, I would say the 12th right before. And then it dropped on the actual, looks like, upgrade date of the 13th to 4,000. So with the 4,092 dropped to 4,006 the actual day of that upgrade. And a lot of people were confused, like it was going to change gas forever. It helped. It was meant to help the layer 2 gas. Okay, and it happened. Optimism gas was so cheap within like a month. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Okay, so the gas fees did go down for the layer 2s, but the price had some good action, right? Had some great action, actually. Some great action up until that point. So I want to take a look like at Ethereum during that time frame, during that month of March. Let's go bring it up really quick. I'll just hit the 1 year mark, right? And we'll go back to March I'll hit the all. Fuck, F it. We're going to March of 2024. Right here. You see this? All of 20, the first half of or first month or so of 2024, like February, January, February, heading into March, was excitement for that upgrade. Corrected up into May, where we're at now, the 2,900, went back up to 3,700, corrected hard. Right, you see these amount of corrections that have happened, which are typically normal in crypto, but the Dankin upgrade wasn't nothing burger for Ethereum versus what it did for layer 2s. So my hopes is, for whatever reason, we don't have a flashback, reality check, and reoccurrence of the Dankin upgrade. There is a lot more to this upgrade that happened. But if the continuous gas prices, the increases continue to be there, right? It's going to be a disappointment to users. It really will be. It really will be. They've been expecting gas has gone down a lot in ETH, but ETH has been down. Now, when ETH goes up and it's a bad gas experience, that's the upsetting part. And that's where just like, you know what? I'm just going to go use Solana, right? It's growing, smaller market cap. It makes sense. It makes sense. And it's not, as much as I want ETH to succeed, like Richard Hart says, nobody wants ETH to no one wants ETH to do well as much as he does. I'm the same boat, man. I'm over leveraged from Pulse Chain to Titan X to a lot of things where I need ETH. But I see the reason why I had to diversify into other chains and other assets was just the numbers and the stats, right? You look on the scoreboard here and you see it there. There's nothing I can do about it. It doesn't. My feelings don't matter. Right? None of that matters. It's just the data that's there. And when you take that data and you do what you do with it, you either accept the information that's in front of you, or you just don't face reality, I guess. You know? You take it as like, no, we're going to all-time highs. No, doesn't matter. That's fine. Everyone's got their own opinion. I'm excited either way, because it doesn't matter what happens with ETH. Bitcoin going up. Bitcoin's going up. I know Solana going up. I know the layer 2s are going to succeed. You know, I'd be happy with the $1,000 BNB. And this was like the biggest mistake, was allowing this to happen with layer 2s to basically dilute ETH. I never understood that. I never will. I don't understand it even more. Like, why did that happen? How did they let that happen? To take the load off the network? Yeah, I guess. But was the Pectra upgrade a massive success? If you think, looking at the chart here, going from $1,700 to $2,000, a $300 increase is a massive success, then yes. If it goes even higher, then yes. But if we have a repeat of last year with the Dankin upgrade, and the reality check of the gas fees not going anywhere when the price of what ETH goes up, then yeah, it could be history repeating itself. So you got to watch for that. Got to identify that. Again, the gamble here is you buy a bunch of ETH and it goes up and you make money, or you buy a bunch of ETH and it corrects on the disappointment. And I don't know if if I could stomach that, because go look at the correction after the upgrade for the Dakin upgrade. It was kind of like, whoa, we hit 4,000. I thought we were going to 5. And here we are 1 year later. We'll see. Time will tell. We're days away. We wish it the best. We hope for the best. We prepare for the worst, and we hope for the best. That's all you can do, right? That's all I can do. That's my advice to myself, is hope, prepare for the worst and hope for the best. That's it. Don't forget to pound the like button. Drop a comment. Till next time. Yeah, dog.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Crypto talk with Thomas G.
Yeah, dog.
Bringing heat, mining sprees, and we're farming all around, including heat.
Yeah, dog.
Bringing heat, mining sprees, and we're farming all around, including. Got me on Navex and bought me some Joe. Farming go crazy, you know how it goes. Zoopy on Phantom, I got a few notes. Sticking my Rex, you know I'm gon' hold. Getting these calls from the dog pound. Buy my dot for the next round. Now I'm coming up off the compound. Got my drip off the rebound. Getting these calls from the dog pound. Buy my dot for the next round. Now I'm coming up off the compound. Got my drip off the rebound. Crypto talk with Thomas G.
Yeah, dog.
Bringing heat, mining sprees, and we're farming all around, including heat.
Yeah, dog.
Bringing heat, mining sprees, and we're farming all around, including